Hello? Hello? Am I audible to you?
Hello, am I audible to you? Students, am I audible to you?
Okay, that's great. So now, so you completed your vacation, right? How was your vacation? How was your vacation? I think many of you are placed, right? And many of you are in process. So congratulations to those who are placed already. That's good. That's great. And those who are placed, congratulations to them. And those who are in the process, all the best to them. Right? Now we are here for the subject digital image processing or image processing, right? We will deal with the digital images, so we will call it as a digital image processing subject, right? So, do you have idea what exactly we are going to do in the subject? What will be the content or what will be the topics that we will cover? What exactly you mean by image processing? What comes in your mind when you think of image processing? What do you think what we are going to do? Any thought that comes in your mind? Image restoration. Okay, Sarah, what do you mean by image restoration? That's true. Image restoration is a thing that we will do. That is possible. But What do you mean by image restoration? Yes, image classification, how image is created, that is true. So Devanshi, image classification is also true. Can you elaborate this image restoration? What is image restoration? What is image classification? What do you mean classification in what? In terms of, uh, I mean, what exactly we'll do in classification? Which type of classification it is? Yes, to get a clean image, that is true. That is what a restoration we can say. Image restoration is that if it is a noisy image or not a clean image, right? So first of all, we have to understand the term what is noisy image, right? And why to clean, how to clean. That are the things, of course, that is the part of restoration that you are going to learn. Amrut says that how image is created. That is also true. We have to learn that how image is captured, because once you know how it is captured, then you can process it. So that will be the initial stage. Later on, we will, after capturing, what happens so that it becomes noisy, what happens that it becomes corrupt, so that we can clean it. Why to clean? What are the advantages? That will be the next step. And Devanshi says it is a classification. Of course, one of the part is a classification. But can you elaborate more what exactly the classification is? Can anyone, not only she, but anyone can answer here. Classification, she says, or any other thing that comes in your mind. That of course these are the parts that we are going to learn here. But any other thing that comes in your mind? Okay, classified to the group or class it belongs to, right? So again, we will say that we will actually extract the features that can help in the classification, right? So that is true, of course, that we will use some machine learning to classify the images, but in that we have to capture the features, and that feature capturing that will help us in classification part that will be can be done, right. Yes. So yes, so here, so entity recognition, this is what you are saying is entity recognition, that it is a person. I mean, what is who is that person? Again, we are extracting some features, we are matching with the features, right? That that if this type of features are there, then it is X person. If this type of features are there, then it is person, and then we can tag that social media that help us in the tagging part and all those things, right? So that is true. So classification is what, like we can say that it is that is images of cats, images of dogs, kind of things are also there. Here also we are going for the features, right? Of course, identification of a place. So again, what exactly we are doing here? We are looking for some features extraction. So we can say that it is actually, of course, use ultimate application is classification, but initially we will say it is a feature extraction. Okay, and entity recognition. So once you're identifying the features, then you can go for classification, identification, recognition, right? So all those things are possible. So here, all of you have answered at the multiple levels, right? So some basic things are like we will how to capture, that will be some basic things, then how to clean so that we can capture the features, that will be the intermediate stage, and the final stage will be that once we are having the features, then how we can classify. So actually we will not go to that classification and all those parts, but one, you will definitely go for the segmentation and partitioning and all those parts we are going to cover here. But after this course, you will have that base, so that if you are reading a few things more, you will be able to go for the advanced operations as well, right? So that is what uh, the that is what the plan or outline of this subject is, right? So so that is digital image processing. So once we should understand first what is digital image processing. Here three words are there, that once is digital image, one digital image and processing is what, that once you have your image, you are going to process on, and you are applying some operations on that, so that you are going to get some result. It can be your clean image, it can be some results, like you said, that some identification, recognition, features, whatever, right? So that is a processing output. right? What will be the input of that? That will be image, but that will be also digital image. What is the meaning of digital image? That is captured through a digital device. That will be represented by some bits, right? So that is what the digital image is. So we will capture it, we will store it in terms of digital numbers, like we will store it in binary, we will be able to store it in terms of bits. That is what the digital image is, right? And we will take capture those input image, we will manipulate it, and we will generate some output. Output can be image itself, like clean image, or it can be some other outputs as well, like features or something like that. Okay, as and when it will come, you will understand. So these are some examples of. Is it visible? The screen is visible to you. The screen is visible to you. Okay. Okay. Is it visible now? Okay. Okay. Okay, that's great. So that is what I was talking about. That digital image processing is that dealing of or manipulation of digital images through a digital computer. How we will manipulate? You are going to capture the image. You are going to store it in terms of bits. How will we manipulate it? You will use your computers to manipulate it. What kind of manipulation you are going to do? So manipulations will be of these types. Okay. So this is your original image. This is your original image, and this is how these two are different. How these two are different. First and second, this and this. How these two are different. Yes, second is more sharp. Edges are sharp. So yes, not resolution actually. We have not increased the resolution. We have increased the sharpness. You just see so you can just see the edges. See here the edge you can see. Here you can see the edges of finger, edges of this edges you can see of this wrinkles. You can see. So actually we have not increased the resolution, but we have increased the sharpness. This is sharper. Okay, so this is one of the manipulation, and you will be able to do this in first session itself. You will learn the technique in which sharpness can be enhanced. You can take in your laboratory how we are going to handle it. In your laboratory, you will have your own pictures, and we are going to apply this type of thing. So you will say, okay, we do this daily. We put our images on social media, and we are used to do this. They provide us inbuilt filters for this, right? Have you used this type of filters ever? That will blur, that will sharp. Okay, so why we are studying this? This was a question the last time I faced. I was not expecting this, and I don't want to expect this time. That's why I'm clearing right now. Why we are studying this? That why we should learn to sharp? Because already we are having filters. Why we are learning this? Already ready-made filters are there. No? Why to study? Okay, we will come to that point. One more thing, that can you compare this to how these two are different? So that is what? That is true, no? Harshit, that is true. How that filter works, that is what we have to learn. That you are the developer, of those filters, you will have the users, right? So you are working on the base, you are going to provide those features to others. So if you are knowing, then you will improve, then you will have use them somewhere, right? So you are going to learn the code of that applications you are going to develop. You are not the application user, you are the application developer. That's why you have to learn this, right? So that's true. That's yes, you have then how to make your own filters. That is what the subject is. In first session itself, many of these filters you are going to learn. You will make your own filter. You will do that uh, encoding itself. if from the first lab, not from the first lab, then from the second lab for sure. So what you will do that you will bring your own images. So in maybe in the first lab, of course, you will need, but in second lab onwards, in the first lab itself, you are going to bring your own images of your choice, right? So collect those images from before Wednesday, and 2 3 images will be required. Not should be of whatever the size is, but try to bring it of smaller size, right? Because otherwise processing time will be more. But anyway, otherwise it will also be fine if you are using any size. But you will use your own pictures in the laboratory session, and you will do all the processing that we are going to do on them, right? We will, of course, we will use some textbook images for some concepts, but majority of time we will use our own, your own images we are going to use. Okay, so that will be very interesting laboratory session itself. In the first session itself, in the 1 month, you are going to learn so many things out of this. I'm going to tell you which are those. Okay, so this is going to be a fun subject. Of course, a lot many things are new to you. Many things you are going to learn as well. So many new things, new concepts, as well as fun, right? So interactive session, of course, as it was in CN, we are expecting it is interactive session, right? And of course, you are used to that. So I'm expecting lot many things. I'm looking for lot many things from this subject. Okay, tell me how these two are different. This and this. Yeah, zoom in. The second is magnified. True. That is zoomed one. This is also you are going to study in your first session itself. How to zoom. How you will bring this. How from this is created. Okay. Here the resolution has to be increased. You have to improve the resolution. Otherwise, what will happen? If you are simply, if I am cropping this is not a cropped version. This is zoomed version. So we have to create some resolution here. We have to add some more pixels here, right? So of course, you are going to learn this. That zooming. This is not just cropping part. I have not cropped this part. I have zoomed this. How cropping and zooming is different. That also you are going to learn. Okay, fine. Can you tell me how this and this are different? First and fifth. Blur. True. So yes. So what we will say that blurring you are going to learn in also in first session. So out of these operations, 1 2 3 operations you are going to learn in first session itself. Okay, how to blur, how to sharp, how to zoom, right? Okay. And can you tell me what is this? No, it's not negative. Machine. What is negative? Negative is black part is white part is black. Here, this is black part itself. It is black itself. Observe what it is. It is not negative. Extraction of edges. True. It is extraction of edges. Observe the edges are extracted. Yes, edges are detected. So it is edge detection. So some concept of this edge detection you will learn in first, and later you will learn in third. So detailed version of this will come. So many edge detectors we are going to learn, but I mean they will be a part of first session as well as third session. Okay, so basics one we are going to learn it, but in laboratory it is going to come at last. This part. Yes, it is edge detection. Okay, what are other things? So these are the other things so that you can perform. This is the original image. As Devanshi suggested, extract something like flower is detected, identified, then processed. That flower was detected. This is entity identification, and then modification. That I change the color. Otherwise, okay. Can you tell me what is background color? What is the color of the background? What is background? Yes, it is grayscale. What about others? What is your stand? It is a grayscale. Do you understand what is grayscale? Others? That's good. So that's good. So this is a grayscale image, right? So yes, background is gray, and it is a grayscale image, and front part is, we can say, that certain portion is identified. Change the color. This is for the color image in laboratories. to certain extent we will perform, right? But I will not say that we are going to do for very high level of operations. So, of course, certain up to certain level, this is going we will perform. This we will perform. This also we will perform this type of things. But automatic detection part we will not perform. I will show you. So this type of operations are possible for now. That is the case. A certain level of this operation we will perform. Others operation requires some high level of information, but we will leave you on the stage that you will be able to read it on yours and yourself, and you will be able to perform this by your own. But after all the sessions, right? Like these are high level operations. This is the color image, particular things are identified, and color is changed. Okay. So color changing part you will learn, but automatic identification part requires some machine learning and all. So parallelly you are learning two subjects. So in future you will be able to combine them. This is also the similar kind of operation that foreground is sharpen, background is blur. So this is one of the possible filter, right? So this also we are going to perform in the laboratory, right? So fine. This what is this you have seen? Have you seen this type of things in your phone? Have you observed this type of thing? What exactly it is? Yes, it is face detection and feature extraction, right? And from the features, something is determined. Like what is the input? Input is image. Output is what? Then what is the age and what is the gender, right? So this type of things are also available. It is very common nowadays in our phone. But of course, this is not we are not going to do them. But these are the applications of image processing. This is what can happen using image processing. We will not perform this up to this, but yes, this is possible using image processing. So actually, we can say that when automation comes now, image processing works as your vision. Whatever, so what we are doing, we are going for the automation that what brain does, right? That is what we want to perform. Brain does many things automatically, and we want that our computer should simulate our brain, right? So when we are trying that computer should simulate our brain, then that image processing works as our eyes. Whatever we can see, we send it to brain, and we take some decisions, so that some part of the brain takes some decision. That entire vision part is nothing but inner automation is given by this image processing and hence computer vision. Okay, so what is this? Which operation is this? What do you think? What we have done here? Okay, cleaning opacity. Yatharth, elaborate. Cleaning, Yash, think on that. Is it cleaning? Enhancing? Enhancement is there. See, it is enhancement anyway. It is enhanced one, right? Right. So enhancement is what this is also some kind of enhancement of color. Enhancement is a very broad term, Sanjana. So try to think over some specific term. Clear noise, which noise it is? Try to think. Yes, Brijesh, you elaborate what is contrast increasing. Why do you think that contrast is increased? Yatharth Yash, I'm waiting for your Yatharth Yash Manan and Sanjana. Think over what exactly. See, observe. This is very much important observation now that you are going to have now. Very much useful to you throughout the subject, and that's why we will spend some minutes here. So take time, but think what exactly we have done here. All of you are correct here. Like something, this was not good. This is good. Let's say it is enhanced. This is cleaned, right? I agree with you. But right now what we are going to develop our taste according to one engineer that knows the image processing. So now we should be clear with what exactly which operations are performed. Observe. What do you think? Which operations are performed? Why this looks clean? And those who have answered, okay, increased opacity. Can you elaborate what do you mean by opacity here? Because too much brightness is there, so the decreases white and increases black part. No, that is why so your answer is actually to some extent correct. But that's why I'm asking you the definition. So I want to know what exactly you think about the contrast and all. No, you are correct in terms of contrast stretching, but again observe what exactly has done. It is not like black part is increased. No, it's not like that. Yes, dynamic range. Explore. Jill, what do you mean by dynamic range? You are correct here. Harsh, what is opacity? What do you mean by opacity? Dynamic range is also correct answer. Smoothing of image. No, smoothing of image is not there. Define opaqueness, opacity, whatever you say. Because see, contrast was not a correct definition, right? Difference of color. Yes, difference of color is clear. That is true. That is true. Underlying image is more clearly visible. High dynamic range means set of techniques used to produce a greater range of luminosity than the which is possible to standard photographic technique. Okay, here are so many words, luminosity and all those. I hope you understand them because definitions are yet to come, but I'm glad if you know them. Okay, so many of you are correct here, but let us have a proper definition. Let us give some words to this, right? Many of you are correct here. Observation is to some extent correct, right? Okay, many of you say that it looks opaque, it looks clear, it looks clean, it looks dynamic range is high. I will come to this dynamic range part. It is more technically true, right? I will come to this, Jill. Yes, absolutely technically right. But let me explain you first in the basic way instead of going to the technical details. Okay. Here's who says that yes, Risha says the difference of color is clear. That is true, and that is what is contrast stretching is. What is that? See, this is a black color, right? Here it was a dark gray. Okay, and here if you will see that it was a light gray, but here it is almost white color. So now what happened here? It was like from light gray to dark gray range was that. That is a dynamic range, right? Like here, all the colors, if I will pick, if I will go here, it is a dark gray. If I will go here, it is a light gray. If I will go here, it is again dark gray. The range of colors were available here. The dynamic range of the colors that was available here was limited, right? While here, if you will observe, if I will pick here, it is almost white. If I will pick here, it is almost white. If I will pick here, it is almost black. It is not here also it is a black. Here it is a dark gray. Here it is somewhere here it is a dark gray. Here it is a light gray. So if you will observe this image, then you will observe the colors that exist from black to white entire range, right? And that's why the difference between color here, if you say it is white, here it was just light gray and dark gray. That's why that look was black, right? And that is what is known as contrast. What is contrast? Contrast is that you have high dynamic range of colors, right? So here the contrast was low because you were having less color range. Here you have large color range and hence contrast is high. Okay, so that is what we have done. We have increased the contrast. But Brijesh, are you clear with what is the definition? Um, uh, decrease in white color is not case. Here we have not decreased. Here there was not a white color. This was a gray color. Here we have added white as well as black. How to do is a separate question. This we are going to learn again in the first session itself. Okay, possibly next 2-3 lectures. Okay, so this is what the contrast stretching is. We are going to enhance the range of colors available. Okay, so please keep this in your mind, because right now I am skipping this part. I'm moving from this, but again I have to come back to this point because we have to learn this how to do that. So this is actually contrast stretching. Contrast stretching is nothing but stretching the dynamic range of the color. That's why color will be more clearly visible, and hence underlying image will be more clearly visible. All of you are clear with this? Rishi, Harsh, and all others those who have answered, or all others? Are you clear with why your answer was not totally correct? Okay, right. That's fine. So you okay? So now, so far, what I've told you, that image processing is good for social media. Image processing is good for image, looking the image very good, clean. Like these are the uses, right? So far, whatever I've shown you, that is mostly for the entertainment purpose, right? But image processing is not for image just for entertainment purpose. It is having very serious applications as well, right? You know them, many of them you are known to you, many of them are going to learn in the other part. Melissa is going to explain you the applications even, right? So so one of them is biometric, right? Face detection, iris detection, fingerprint detection, all are image processing. So for the security reasons, that is whatever is used is image processing. Medical x-rays and analysis, automated analysis of x-rays, and uh, this tumor detection, cancer detection, etc. Are also just image processing itself. So this is having very serious applications. Very, I told you that whatever your eyes does for you, that will image processing do for the automated system. So you can understand what is the importance of your eyes, right? So so what we concluded, that image processing is highly useful yet interesting and entertaining subject, right? So now we were using some word like resolution. What do you mean by resolution? What do we mean by resolution? Have you heard about this word? Image resolution? What is that? Image resolution is what? What is image resolution? Quality. Why it will represent quality? I agree. Number of pixels. Number of pixels. Details image can hold. Number of pixels. True. All of you are correct here. Resolution is nothing but the number of pixels that exist in your image. If more pixels are there, that means more information you can hold, right? More details you can hold, right? And hence, quality of your image will look like it will represent the quality of your image. Lesser pixels, right? So lesser quality of image. Right? So we have different resolution. We have seen this type of numbers, right? These are the resolution. So it says that this many pixels, this much wide, this much length, height, width and height of your image. Okay. So if I say my resolution of my image is say uh, 5 cross 5. Resolution of my image is 5 cross 5. Can you tell me how many pixels does it have? Resolution of my image is 5 cross 5, like 25 pixels, right? So if I'm, how can I represent where that 5 stands for? If I say this is 5 cross 5, right? What this 5 represents? What is this 5? 25 is true. What is this 5? It is width. It is width. So I am saying that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Totally 5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So can I say actually this is what my image should be? This is pixel. This one square is a pixel, and it is 5 cross 5 image, right? Now if I say it is 5 cross, if I say it is 5 cross 6, so what will happen? One more 5 cross 6. That means what will happen? Like if this is representing width and this is representing height, then one more line here, one more row will get added. Right now what will say, this will be row, number of rows. So if it is number of rows, the number of rows will be 5 and number of columns will be 6, if I am saying so. Row and column, this is general representation, so let us keep it like that. It can be anything that you must understand, but okay, so let us keep this as a row, let us keep this as column. Let us keep this as column. Okay. So if I say it is 5 cross 6, that means it will be 6 columns, 5 rows. Okay. So it will look like this. So actually, okay, fine. Now what I want, that I want to represent, so that is what we are saying here, like um, that is what we are saying. So like it is a resolution, right? Resolution is what the number of pixels in image. Generally, the first number represents the width, second number represents the height, right? But again, when you are representing it in your computer, now the first number will represent a row because you will see it as a metric. Suppose if I am saying it that 2048 cross 1536, that means you will see it as a metric of width 2048. That means how many columns? If I say it is 2048 width, this is the width. 2048 width, that means that many columns, right? And 1536 rows, that will be height. So resolution represents this is a height, this is a width. But when you represent it in a metric form, generally when we represent a metric, what we write? Row into column. So when you represent it in computer, that happens like 1536 cross 2048. Right now we are not, we don't want to get confused with that. We will see that when we will perform the laboratory part. But what is the case? Like if it is a resolution, then it will give you certain number of pixels in the width, certain number of pixels in the height, and totally how many pixels we will have. Suppose if I say here 5 cross 6, that means 30. In that way here, what will be, how many pixels I will have? So it will be 2048 cross 1536. That means I will have this many pixels in my image. This many pixels I will have in my image. Okay. So how many are there? All approximately 3.1 megapixels are there. Okay. Up to this, anyone is having doubt in resolution? Row column part we will cover it later when we will do that laboratory part. At the time, row column part I will cover again. But case is like, are you clear with that? I will have this many pixels in the width and this many pixels in the height, and hence totally multiplication of them, this type of metric type of thing I will have, and that will look like this many pixels. Any doubt up to this? Okay, that's good. Now tell me, if you see the image, you generally see it like this many bytes, megabytes. Like if you will see your image, it is in kilobytes, right? And other images are in say 3 megabyte, 5 megabyte, right? MB, 5 MB image you have, 3 MB image you have, megabytes. What that byte represent? What is that byte? From where that byte come? What I know, image will have pixels, right? And I know that this image is having 3.1 megapixel. But when I will store it, it will have like size 3.1 megabyte. What is the meaning of that? If I store this, it will have size of say, this is just an example, right? If it is having size of 3.1 megabyte, what is the meaning of that? Pixels are 3.1 megapixels. That many pixels are there. But when I store, how to store pixel? I declare this is actually Each pixel is RGB tuple. Okay, you are going for complex cases. Let us go for the grayscale only. Mhm. RGB ratio. Or let us keep it to grayscale. Let us keep it to grayscale. Right. Of course, RGB part I will come to. Let us keep it to. Okay, someone is having doubt here. Let me know if anyone is having doubt. Raising hand. Anyone is having doubt or anything want to discuss? See, true. RGB part I will come to that point. I will come to that point. Where exactly you taken some basics of image processing? From where exactly you taken it? Just okay. So okay, no issues, no issues. In case you have doubt, you can ask me. Right? Steganography. Okay, so steganography, some basics you have gone through. That is good. That's great. I'm glad that some basics are known to you. Okay, no issues. Rishik, in case you have doubt, you can stop me anytime. Okay, let us keep our discussion to grayscale for now. Okay, so what it is? Yes, I think Harshit answered. The one pixel will require one byte. So simplest one I'm taking, like if I'm having 3.1 megapixel, and if I'm using one byte for one pixel, right? So how many bytes I will need to store? I have to store 3.1 megapixels. If I'm using one byte for each pixel, then I'm going to use um, no one not it is not a one bit. See, one bit will on black and white. Yeah, yes, it is a black and white. Then one bit. True. I am asking about grayscale. I am asking about grayscale, right? So what we will go for, like suppose it is a grayscale, right? And we are using one byte for one pixel, right? So how many bytes I will need? 3.1 megabytes. Megabytes will be the required one. Now, those who are saying for RGB, what will happen in RGB? Um, you have to store some value of R, some value of G, some value of B. You are using one byte for R, one byte for G, one byte for B, right? So you are using 3 bytes per pixel. So what will be the size that you are storing for? It will be 3.1 into 3, right? So what one byte will represent totally 24 bit you are using for one pixel. Out of the 24 bits, that is 3 bytes, each byte for each color, R, G, and B. Okay, so here what we are going for, we are not going for the color for now, for simple understanding. Okay, color, I of course will take in laboratory part. Okay, for now we are considering like one pixel is represented by one byte. That means how many bits I am using to represent a pixel? How many bits I am using to represent a pixel? Very simple question, very simple but useful. Okay, 8 bits I am using. That means, okay, and which color I want. So to store this color, to store this value, I am using 8 bits, right? To store this value, this is a pixel, right? A square is a pixel, right? So in this square, to store this color, I'm using 8 bits. To store this color, I'm using 8 bits again, right? So using 8 bits, how many values I can, what are the options that I have using 8 bits? Which values it can take? Yes, it can take 256 shades, right? And what is the range of color that I want to represent? Yes, it will be 0 to 255, and the range of color that I want to represent is from black to white. Why? Because it is a grayscale, right? So if I'm using 8 bits, that means I have options from 0 to 255, all the values, right? And I will associate some color with 0, some color with 255, some color with say 30, some color with 31, some color with 15, that so on with this. Okay. So what is the conclusion so far, that I'm going to use 8 bits for a pixel, and hence I have 256 options, 0 to 255. Plus I have colors to represent from black to white, entire gray range. So I'm going to chop off the entire color from black to white into 255 different parts. Okay. Suppose I am using 9 bits. Some of you say, no, I have sufficient memory. I'm going to use 9 bits for my 1 pixel. So what we will do, from black to white, we will chop off to how many parts? 250, 5 and 2 parts. So out of that, black is represented by 0 and white is represented by 255. Okay, so in the case of 991, we will say black is represented by 0 and white will be represented by 5 and 1, right? So in an entire range, intermediate grayscale range can be represented by intermediate values. As value goes nearer to 0, they will become darker. As the values will become nearer to 255, if it is 8 bit, then they will become whiter shade, light gray shade. And as it remains intermediate value 128 around, that means they are gray color, proper gray color, right? Right, so that is what we can see here. So this is one image. In that I have taken a small part of it. I have shown you these are the pixels of that, and here if you will see, these are dark colors and hence the values are smaller. This is very brighter shade and they are near to 200 values, and this is exact gray color and the value is 128. So now how to see your image? If I say it is 5 cross 6 image, 5 cross 5 image, you will see it as a metric of different values. The value will range from 0 to 255 if it is 8 bit. Okay. So fine. So this is what we are. That is what the basics of this, and I think many of you were aware of this as well. Okay. Now, um, any doubt that you have up to this? Any issue? Okay, seems that you were aware and it was very clear to you. Okay, now some of you say, okay, why you associated black with 0 and white with 255? Can't you do the reverse way? Yes, you can do it in reverse way, because what I want is that from 0 to 255, I want to associate a color with a number. That's it, right? I can do it in the reverse way as well. But something we have to do standardized way. Some protocol, did you know that we have to define certain protocol so that it can done international level as well. So whenever someone is researching, then when they specify something that can be understood by and not misunderstood at least by all, and hence some standard is accepted, and that's why they have accepted 0 with black and uh, uh, presence of all like as a white, and absence of all is as a black. That's why 0 and 255, right? But again, this is if your system you are having and you want that the reverse mapping, that is absolutely okay, right? So that is absolutely fine. Okay, now, so this is what all about image that we understood. Now what we want is that manipulate. Let us change, right? Let us manipulate. So what are the options that I have? So this is image processing, right? We have to manipulate our image, right? So what is the manipulation? Manipulation can be of two types. One is spatial domain processing. If using spatial domain processing, you can manipulate, or you can use transform domain processing to manipulate. What is spatial domain? Spatial domain is I captured the image. That means it is the image that I can see from my raw eyes. I mean, with my regular, I mean, that captured image itself, not processed image, right? That is taken, that is processed. Something I am some operation I'm going to perform over this operation itself, this image itself, and I'm creating one image. So directly I'm operating on my image itself. Okay, so that is partial domain. So you will say, okay, what are the other options we have? We have to operate on image only. No? No. What we can do is that we can take our image, we can change its form, we can take its Fourier transform, right? So this is image, then I will take its Fourier transform, Laplace transform. So now these two are same, but they are the representation is different, right? Now this is transformed image, transformed by Fourier, transformed by Laplace, right? Then this transform image is processed, and then we will take inverse Fourier transform. We will do with the inverse Fourier transform, right? We will use Fourier transform, and we will have processed image. So we are what we are doing. We are going to some domain to process, and we will come back. Okay. So transform the image into suitable domain, perform operation, and come back. So which one is computationally efficient? Which one is faster? First one will be faster, right? Because you're directly manipulating itself, right? Easy to understand even because you are what you are seeing now that is modified. So this is easy to understand, faster to implement, true. But this has, so you will why we are having so, because it has its own advantages, own applications, of course. So we will study this as well, but this we will study in second session, and we will start with this. This is the second session, and this we will start with in the first session, right? So both the see all these operations that you studied, they can be done in both the domains with certain advantages and disadvantages, right? So we will take them, we will understand them, but this is easy to understand initially. Why? Because we can see the image and we are manipulating. Okay, so we will start with spatial domain operation. So spatial domain processing, again, the spatial domain processing can be further classified into two ways. Spatial domain, again, two type of operations are possible in spatial domain. What is spatial domain? I will take my image and process it itself. Okay, but here I have two options. One is intensity transformation and another is partial filter. Okay, what is intensity transformation? So I will take my image, right? What is intensity of image? Now I think you have studied the basic, you know intensity. What is intensity of the image? What is intensity of the image? Do you know? If not, you can tell me so that I can quickly go. Are you aware of intensity of image? Yes or no? Okay. This value is intensity of image. The number itself is uh, not higher, not necessarily higher. This value itself, pixel value itself, is intensity. Understood? We will call it as intensity. So pixel value, this is also intensity, and this is also intensity. Values, that's it, nothing else. So now what I will do, I will take my image. It will have some pixels, right? Then I will take a pixel. Suppose I am taking this pixel. It will have some intensity. Say it is having 200 value. Can you tell me it is a bright pixel or dark pixel if it is having value 200? It is a bright pixel. And if I say on an average every pixel is having 200 value, so image is bright or dark? On an average every pixel is having value 200. Assume the size of the image is same. I am not changing the size, but of course I am not plotting it properly. Assume the both image size is same, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it is drawn properly, no issues. Okay, so now this pixel was having value 200, but now overall this pixel was a bright pixel, right? But I want to make that pixel darker. What are the options that I have? How can I make this pixel darker? I don't want a bright pixel, I want a dark pixel. What are the options that you can have? I don't want 200 value. How to decrease the value? Subtract from 255. 255 minus x. Okay. So see, if I will, yes, you can do that. You can subtract it from 255. Or what I can do is, yes, we can do that too. And both the options are correct here. Like I will reduce it to half. Like if I some operation I will perform over this, reduce by half. Or someone will say, okay, subtract 10 out of this, subtract 100 out of this. Subtraction operation. Someone will say. Someone will say, no, just make it 255 minus 200, so it will be 55. All of you are correct here. So what you did actually, you took this pixel, you operated whatever way was suitable to your application, and you generated this output. That is intensity transformation. What is? Take your pixel itself, nothing else, your pixel itself. Okay. Then operate it whatever suitable way and generate your output. Your output is just dependent on your input value, nothing else. Input pixel of that location. Okay. So if I say, okay, overall image was bright, I want to do overall darker. So what I will do with this, this was also bright. What I have to do then? I will perform the same operation over this. Right? Whatever operation I have performed here, whatever I will choose out of this, that I will perform here as well. Right? So this is intensity transformation. What it is? Take a pixel, operate it, generate a pixel. So now what is spatial filtering? Spatial filtering is like if I want to generate this pixel of output, I will not only take this pixel of input, but its neighborhood. To generate this pixel of output, I will not just take this pixel of input as I was doing in earlier case, but also I will take the neighborhood. What should be the size of neighborhood? That depends. Right? So that is spatial filtering. To generate this pixel again, to generate this pixel, I will not just take this, but its neighborhood this. Getting the difference of this two? So output value here is not only dependent on this input value. Okay, input pixel, but its neighbors as well. But again, you are not transforming, you are taking your image itself, raw image itself. You are not changing domain of this and then using something. So still it is the spatial domain. But actually it is filtering, it is not intensity transformation. Getting the difference of this two? And with the transform domain, all the differences are clear to you? Spatial filtering, intensity transformation, these 2 points are clear to you? That's great. So that is what I was telling you, that take a pixel, generate a pixel. So take a pixel, operate some operation, have some operation. T is operation, right? T is a function, it is operation, and generate your output. So G is your output, F is your input, and T is the operation. That operation can be any of this or whatever of your choice. Okay. This is also kind of operation, right? So what it says, this is a T, this is operation. What it says, if my input value is 0, my output will be this. If my input is this, my output will be this. So I will take my pixel, I will take this pixel. I will, so what we are discussing right now, we are discussing intensity transformation. In that what will happen, I will take a pixel. I am taking pixel, suppose its value is somewhere here. Then I will see my operation. Operation says output should be this. So this will be new output, new gray level. And in that way, whatever is generated is intensity transformed image. If this is my pixel value currently in the original image, after applying this transformation, whatever output comes, that will be my new output value. This is a transformation. This transformation can be any of this or any such shape, that can be anything. Transformation changes, output changes. Okay, I can give you one example. This is a transformation. This is input. This is output. So if input is 0, output is 0. If input is say 5, output is 0. Input is say 10, output is 0. Input is say 200, 100, and 50, 150. Output is say 120, 255. Output is say 255. This is 255. This 250, I hope you will understand. This is 255 and this is 128. So if my input is from 0 to 128, output will be 0. And if it is from 128 to 255, output will be 255. So I will take a pixel, I will check what where the value is. So can you tell me what kind of output we are expecting here? Suppose I give this type of image here. If input is less than 128, output will be, yes, it will be black and white image. True, it is going to be a black and white image. And this transformation will give us which operation? Grayscale to black and white. It will convert grayscale to black and white because earlier the ranges were available from 0 to 255. Now the ranges are available only 0 and 25. Okay, so this is what the point is, that if transformation changes, operation changes, and this is actually more properly known as thresholding operation. We are thresholding at 128. Above threshold white, below threshold black. Okay, so thresholding operation will convert grayscale to black and white. Is it done? So up to this, we are stopping our discussion here. Any doubt in case you have up to this, you can ask. And in the laboratory, see, all of you, please download Octave. It is available for free. It is open source. It is available for Linux and Windows both. Right? You in the laboratory, you will come with the downloaded Octave, of course, installed. And the second one is that you will come with your own images. Okay, so that will be the task for you before your laboratory starts. Any doubts so far? Okay, fine. So we are stopping our discussion here. We'll continue with that in the next lecture.